I hope people can understand my state of mind at this point. I haven't been through something like this probably since, I don't know, junior high.
Who gon' take it there? 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 Electricity, 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 electricity. You know what's in there.
All right, so Sam Seder and Jillian Michaels have both had some follow-up comments on their debate. I covered their debate that they did the other day where Jillian Michaels relied heavily on AI. It made for kind of mostly unproductive conversation, as well as she tried to start the conversation with this kind of confrontation tactic, which was really interesting, actually. She compiled this list of all the times that Sam Seder had insulted her and things that they've said about her or other things that were lies. And so in the process of doing that, essentially how she set herself up for this show is she had all these different clips that Sam Seder had said, and she was going to fact check him on every single one. And so that's why she said, I'm going to bust you in lie after lie. But then you see later in the conversation that every single thing she's bringing to the table is just coming straight from the output of an AI. She's not putting any actual thought into this research at all. So what that means is that for every single one of these clips that she wanted to respond to of Sam, she had an AI output that disproves him. That's how she went about this. So luckily, Sam got the conversation onto more of a focus on the issues pretty early on. And the title of her video is Debate with Sam Seder Goes Off the Rails. But really, I mean, he's the one who kind of puts it on the rails, because if they had kept going in the direction Jillian wanted to go, it would have been a completely inscrutable conversation. They would have talked about a million things and none of it would have made sense. And as I said extensively in my last video about it, it was still quite a confusing conversation because of Jillian Michaels' use of AI. And she really just kind of made herself look like a fool and incapable of discerning this stuff for herself. So she didn't address that. I kind of feel like she's going to at some point, but we'll see. That seems to be a prevailing narrative coming after this debate, which is good. That was part of what I was trying to do, because that shit really needs to be called out. So anyway, here is Sam kind of telling the story a little bit about, what happened here. He seemed to regret it immediately just because, he wasn't expecting it to be this weird gotcha thing. So all in all, it made for a pretty interesting spectacle, if nothing else. So here's the first clip here.
I hope people can understand my state of mind at this point. I'm I haven't been through something like this probably since, I don't know, junior high, where, she wants to come on and just make it about her aggrievement. She's so upset at the way that people who like me have sent emails to her. Zach and Gavin, they were laughing at her. That was so rude. I mean, I at this point am just questioning everything I've ever done in my life that led up to this moment. Jillian was showing that we lied, and that there was an Iranian protester who said that that Mamdani was like Khomeini. And
right.
so
and that's why I
her,
insulted the conservative Iranian diaspora as idiots. That's why I said what I said.
And I said, well, wait a second. And first off, we should tell people, Khomeini was not elected. Mamdani was elected. That's like a slight difference.
Potato, potato.
I guess free buses is sort of like Khomeini. But there's other people who've been helping.
Now you're getting it.
But
classic Khomeini policy.
I said to Jillian, look, I will stipulate that we lied, that there was a person on the street. It's not hard to find somebody who's going to say that, who said he was like Khomeini. But you tell me, how is he like Khomeini? And she wouldn't engage in that part of the conversation.
So they're addressing this thing about Iranians in the streets of America saying that Mamdani is just like Khomeini, and how there was a clip of the Majority Report laughing about that, saying, that's stupid. No, they wouldn't be saying that. Jillian Michaels has a clip, that apparently came from. So in the clip she originally showed, Matt does say something about we don't need to be trusting the conservative diaspora of Iran in the West about this subject. That's exactly who the clip was of. So that's the kind of point that people aren't that used to hearing, that maybe the perspectives of people who fled during the revolution when they were seizing property and ill-gotten gains, etc., maybe those aren't the people to listen to about these political issues. You're kind of seeing shadows of that with Cuba, where now there's concerns that some of the capitalists that are going to be returning from America are going to just buy back up all the land and kind of seal the people that have been there this entire time into an even worse reality than they've been living. That's kind of a concern. That is the pattern that happens when you have like communist societies that give way to capitalists coming in and buying back up those resources that used to be public. So anyway, I mean, back to the point about this, thing with Khomeini and Mamdani, the fundamental thing here is that you're talking about a revolution versus a guy who was elected to mayor. And so the idea that their rhetoric is even exactly the same or comparable is ridiculous. That's coming from hysterical people who are hysterical because they're fundamentally afraid of the idea that the government would come in and say, we're going to claw back some of this property, claw back some of this wealth from the wealthy, etc. And somebody like Jillian Michaels is a perfect mouthpiece for that because she doesn't really think these things through, as you see in this debate. She doesn't know anything about that, but she knows that she likes the kind of ritzy lifestyle that she lives, and I feel like she must be floated by PBD or something. Something about the way she went about the Sam Seder debate seems like Patrick Bet-David had something to do with it or was part of the consulting for it, because he brought up similar things in his debate with Sam Seder previously, saying like, listen, you've made all these videos about me and or maybe it was about Dave Rubin or whoever they were talking about at the time. But, Jillian Michaels used to work for PBD. So it just seems to me that Sam Seder has this reputation, particularly amongst this like group of conservatives, a very certain group of media conservatives who view him as very good at debate and someone that they don't want to debate, but also, they just get mad that he makes fun of them on his show. And so one of the biggest power moves that Sam has access to is to be able to just kind of keep doing that and doubling down on that. Although, as I said in the last video, I do think that it leaves the door open. If you are going to talk to these people, it leaves the door open for them to try to make you look bad faith. You know what I mean? And that's what Jillian tried to do in this episode. I thought she was going to do a better job of it when I first started watching, but it just completely fell apart immediately. So here's a little bit more of Matt responding. There was one part where Jillian plays a clip of Matt saying something about an article that he read, and Jillian essentially credits it to Sam because Sam goes, yep. And she's like, well, are you going to answer for that? And Sam's just like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So this is where he emphasizes how much he was just completely exasperated by this conversation, which is funny because he was not the one who was behaving that way. Jillian was the one who was. And so they get into that as well.
She's laughing.
I'll also say that organic-y type of thing that she represents, it would be catastrophic. There's an article in Foreign Policy Magazine 2022. In Sri Lanka, organic farming went catastrophically wrong. Nationwide experiment is abandoned after producing only misery. Basically, they tried to go pesticide-free, and it caused food shortages. So these people have no real solutions other than they have a perverse incentive in that when people are sicker and aren't covered by public health, they turn to quacks like them.
Yep. Okay, so that's exactly what we're talking about. That was in relation to USAID. Did you read the article?
Did I read the article?
Mm-hmm. You said yup. So did you read it? Because it doesn't support any...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
The clip
honestly,
just
Matt was talking there. I don't know what you're talking about.
You said yup. Are you not... Okay.
I said yup just now?
Well, in the clip when you read it.
But
this
I do
ties
3
back
hours
to...
a day. I don't know when that clip was.
I like how your shirt is less buttoned and your hair is getting more messed up as this thing goes on.
I don't even know what
So this ties back to USAID.
To this. And so I read the book. It mentions USAID once on page 65, where Rodale actually speaks sort of positively of the USAID representative at a conference who was discussing the
what does
the
food aid run through?
What does the food aid run through, Sam? The supplies needed to grow food in Africa was actually more
I can't.
Her energy is the most. She's so oppressed. She's so oppressed.
I'm just trying to reach you.
It's there's like a kid thing where like you kind of get on them for something like clean up their room, so and they like.
She's so exasperated.
God, okay, I'll do it.
Oh, Sam, you're caught up in your whole... Fauci has really done a number on you. I wasn't listening at that point. Like I was not listening to the clip, so I had no idea.
Frame.
I get more and more disheveled, and it's really cracking me up.
I'm trying to think of what I was doing. I think I was trying to like reach a tissue or...
You were trying to find the book.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to find the book.
People... that continue to watch somebody exposed for relying on AI that heavily need to like look themselves in the mirror and wonder like, what am I doing with like the brain that's in my head? What am I feeding it? Like, am I giving it the best type of content that helps me understand the world, or is this like actually a dead end that I'm going up to every day?
I don't know that there's really that many people who do
so I want to keep it moving along here because I got a couple more clips, but I agree with what Matt said here, and that's what I really wanted to emphasize is that this is just a terrible media diet. It's so lazy and obviously so much overconfidence from Jillian Michaels that she's barely taking in this information that she's reading from AI, not scrutinizing it at all, and then just repeating it and really feeling like she has someone like Sam Seder dead to rights in a conversation like this. And, she's refuting this article that Matt is trying to talk about, and that's what she's ready to bring up there. But she has so much stuff. She has so much shit, quote unquote, prepared that she doesn't even bring up half of the shit that I can tell she was ready to come to the table with. And that's why she felt like this conversation went off the rails, because she failed to keep control of the conversation. And really that's because there's not a coherent premise here. Like, there's not a coherent premise that she's laying out. Even if she had stuck with the Sam Seder, you're a liar and you will lie about all these kinds of things, that would have been a more coherent type of conversation to have. But once they started talking about USAID and then comparing their framework of analyzing that situation, that's when it became clear that, these are just two people who discern information a lot differently. And Sam has a context that goes back many years with this information, which really any adult should have, at least to some extent. And as they point out in this next clip, this is a part that I didn't get to about Iran, Jillian just doesn't seem to have that, or just seems to abdicate it. So here's that.
Feeling on Iran right now is that we don't really know how it's going to turn out. So far.
What do you mean we don't know how it's going to turn out?
Okay,
we already know right now.
I don't agree with you.
That we have killed thousands of civilians. We have expended...
with thousands of civilians. We've killed thousands of Iranian civilians on the street.
We've killed thousands of Iranians, yes.
Civilians or the IRGC?
Civilians. I don't think that's controversial at all.
Really? All right. Team, have we killed thousands of Iranian civilians? I know there was some skepticism over a school.
Oh, God. There's skepticism over that school?
Yes. Because
I don't even think the U.S. government has denied it. They just said that it shouldn't have been near a base.
They've said that they think that it was probably an IRGC missile potentially hitting the school.
Oh my God.
And there's no defined answer because I tried to find it. How many?
I tried to ask AI if there was a defined answer. I don't know if this is willful ignorance or just ignorance.
Sort of empowered ignorance.
Thank you for having me on.
Weapons grade. I'm just curious. The short answer is a matter of days to roughly 1 to 2 weeks, Sam. That's the answer.
Days and weeks away from a nuclear weapon. It's amazing how many years,
Sam, that is
for decades, I've been hearing that.
Sam, they had 60% enriched uranium. It takes, literally, the short answer is a matter of days to roughly 1 to 2 weeks. And I did speak to somebody from the no, okay. All right. How long is the time frame to get from 60% enriched uranium to weapons grade? The short answer is a matter of days to roughly 1 to 2 weeks. Because the law of physics and nuclear engineering... because of the laws of physics and nuclear engineering.
Yeah, so there it is. This is, again, for folks just listening, this is the Google search AI response on this.
Nuclear engineering, because of the laws of physics and nuclear engineering.
But she's not asking how far are they from getting a weapon.
Yeah.
Which is what we were debating.
I mean, she has no context for that. This is the thing Israel's been saying forever. She has AI psychosis, really. The confidence she had to say that stuff that was just horseshit about
So what he said about her having AI psychosis is 100% true. I think that there's a chance that she will use it less in that way after this. It just depends. I mean, clearly, to the extent that she's been using it, it's because she's getting a lot of, good feedback about it, either from the AIs themselves or from people in her orbit. A lot of these conservative types or pro-business types, pro-tech types holistic types, they're really embracing a non-critical view of this type of technology and rather viewing it as this sort of like spiritual connection and communication. And so that's, really what you would refer to as AI psychosis, because having that type of relationship with the technology that is only mimicking speech, it's only mimicking an answer. So that's why it can give you a highly accurate answer if it has access to enough data points that it can replicate something like that. But if it doesn't, it's just going to make some shit up. And so a lot of this stuff that Jillian Michaels is reading is clearly an AI just making up a right-wing refutation of some of the information that's being presented from the foreign policy article that Matt mentioned, or the PBS article that they argued about. So I guess this is kind of the evolution of like skepticism of mainstream sources, right? And that's the part that they're never going to give up on. And the AI stuff makes it a lot worse, but it also makes them quite vulnerable. I mean, really it's just because she was so shameless, like I said, like she just had no sense that she shouldn't be just reading straight off of an AI. So, they'll probably be more slick about it going forward, but really, I mean, it's something to be prepared for in terms of talking to people about these issues. What types of things they might spit out that they would just repeat that an AI told them, because those arguments are pretty easy to fall apart. So here, just as a final example of that, is a little bit of what Jillian Michaels had to say, ironically talking to Dave Rubin about this, who very cleverly avoids the subject of Sam Seder. Jillian Michaels brings him up, Rubin swerves it completely. But she talks about the first thing that she brings up about Mamdani, about how he went to some radical Muslim church or something, and just an attempt to tie him to radical Islam. And so we'll get to all that. But here is her. This is, as far as I know, the only thing she said about the debate so far.
Mamdani, do you think his mosque performs gay marriages? Do you think Rashida Tlaib or Ilhan Omar's mosque does gay marriages? I'm pretty sure not. And why would he be at a homophobic mosque? That seems weird.
Oh my God, D. I fully got into that one thing in particular with Sam Seder, because he was calling me an idiot for saying that Iranians were out in the streets, which quite literally I played the video of it for him, expressing concern that Mamdani was mirroring the early Ayatollah's political positions in 79.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, like what? And I was trying to call up the graphics of the policies side by side, and he just would not stop screaming at me. And he's like, and what? You're saying he's an Islamist? And I finally was able to get one thing out, and I go, listen, the guy was on stage at a mosque linked to Iran, gets off stage, and the imam swiftly calls for death to the infidels. That's,
I've seen it.
That's me, you, Sam, and also all the gays. They stone gays to death. Just...
Yeah, look. That's why
he's like, nothing.
Yeah, so you see the stubbornness here and the persistence as well of these anti-Islamist type of narratives, which really you only see these quite hysterical people doing when it comes to Mamdani. It just doesn't really seem to have much of an implication on his policy at all, which is the connection that Sam is trying to get her to draw in the debate. Tell me what the policies are that have some connection to Islamist communism or whatever. There's nothing there, obviously. Certainly not to the extent that you see these Christian nationalists applying their readings of the Bible to law in a way that is violent in some cases. Certainly their rhetoric is violent. So it's a kind of hysteria that has existed for many years. And while there is a lot more bloodthirsty racism and racism of all kinds kind of on the surface nowadays, there's also so much religious extremism on the other side that for anybody who doesn't fall into that camp, it's pretty easy to point to the hypocrisy of that. So that's not a narrative about Mamdani that I see having too much staying power. And as far as this clip that they're talking about in this mosque, again, Jillian Michaels frames this as soon as Mamdani gets off stage, they turn around and do this prayer about kill all the infidels. So just in that framing, she's lying because it's a clip. There's a cut between when Mamdani gets off stage and when they start doing this song. Somebody's singing a song that supposedly has that in the lyrics. It really just appears in the captions. I don't know if that's true or not. But, it's just garbage. It's bullshit. Who cares? I don't care about that. And like I said, I don't feel nearly as threatened by that as I feel by the rising Christian nationalism in this country. But somebody like Jillian Michaels doesn't feel that way. Dave Rubin doesn't feel like that. And, that's why there's an alliance there. this idea that somehow the conservative movement is ultimately going to protect the rights of gay people better than the left, or at least if they spread the propaganda, they'll be protected. And of course, at the same time, trying to make it about hypocrisy of people who care about gay rights and Palestinian rights at the same time. You know, just people who stand for nothing and are desperate to find an argument to justify that, and that is something specifically that AI is perfect for.